And this is a really intensive one. Now, I did not create this. This is from the Homestead, which is part of my Young Living family. So in Young Living, we don't have to create all of the information ourselves. Our extended teams create things and then share them very willingly. So this is the comprehensive hormone program from the Homestead, which is now Oil Talk Homestead on Facebook. So it's a really great group. But I love this one because it has so much good health information about how our bodies work. And I think that's where women, I don't know about you, but I thought I knew a lot more than I actually did. So this is a really good class. So if you've got some if you've got some paper for notes, you might like to jot down some notes just to keep track of some of the key points. I will post this again so that replays will be available. And if at any time you have questions, just shout them out. So, and I'm really, really excited about this. I love this course, like I said, because it is so comprehensive. And this really, for me, hormones is one of those key pieces of our body that if we can keep our hormone systems in check, then most of our other health issues can come into line. But the biggest thing for most of us, because we don't get taught this stuff in school, or I don't know anywhere where we would get taught this, is what to look for, where to even start, how do you support hormones, how do you know if you need to support your hormones. So let's get started and find out how we can understand our hormonal systems better and make our health better. But the first thing I want to say is I am not a doctor. I'm an oiler. I like to do lots of research, not research papers on PubMed, but I can't answer questions regarding medication, illness, or disease. So don't be upset or offended if I can't answer those questions that you might have, but this will help you be more educated to take those questions to your doctor, your pharmacist, or your primary healthcare practitioner, if it's an NP or whomever. But I can share with you stories about how products have helped me in my life personally, and why I think that those products are so amazing. Okay. So we are going to start off with our endocrine system. And the endocrine system actually is just a system of glands that produce hormones that tell the body what to do and when. These hormones help maintain our body's homeostasis, which is like baseline. They regulate our metabolism. They help our tissue function. They help with growth and repair of our cells. They regulate our libido, our immune system, our mood, our sleep, our blood sugar levels, our heart rate, and our digestion, among many other things. So this endocrine system is extremely important information system in our body, and hormone release system in our body. And how it works is that our bloodstream picks up these hormones from our endocrine system and distributes them through our body to the organs and the cells that are actually designed to receive each different hormone. And hormones are actually just chemical messengers that transfer information from one cell to another to regulate various functions of our body, which is actually, I think, freaking amazing. Because when we talk about hormones, there is a whole slew of them. We're talking insulin, we're talking cortisol, estrogen, progesterone, testosterone, oxytocin, dopamine, serotonin, melatonin, thyroxine, and like a whole bunch of other ones. And I think you've probably heard of at least a few of those that I just rattled off. right now, I think the world is talking about cortisol and insulin in huge numbers, because type 2 diabetes is ever increasing, and we are under so much stress all the time that our cortisol levels are way up there. Julie, did you have a question? Nope. Okay. So actually, our hormones are responsible for so many important functions. And if they are not working well, we are not at our best selves, and we are way out of balance. And so our goal should be is to strive for a healthy endocrine system. And that starts by knowing what the system actually includes. So I did not understand all of the pieces of the endocrine system. So there's the hypothalamus, the pituitary gland. We'll talk about each of these in their own way soon. The pituitary gland, the pineal gland, the thyroid gland, which probably we've all heard of, the parathyroid glands, adrenal glands, ovaries, testes, and pancreas. So that is the endocrine system kind of glands that we have. And so we are going to, like I said, we are going to learn about each of those glands and what they regulate as we go through this class. And we're going to learn how we can support the entire endocrine system through lifestyle, nutrition, and Young Living products, so that we can have a happy and healthy hormonal system. We want to make sure that the endocrine system is working well, because all of those glands, if some of them are not working well, oftentimes they'll take other ones out with them. And we want to make sure that everything is working in harmony together so that we feel good. And so this whole class, we're going to talk about different ways that we can support the hormones and the different gland systems that they come from. And go through each one by in order, so that you have a really good idea of what they do, and you can relate them back to how you're feeling, or maybe people that your family members, whomever. So the first gland we're going to talk about is the hypothalamus. Okay, and the hypothalamus is located in the brain, and it serves as an intermediary between the endocrine system, the nervous system, and the immune system. So it's kind of like that, a link pin between those three systems. So think of it as the command center for our endocrine system. When you feel sleepy or hungry or emotional, that is your hypothalamus communicating with your body. And it takes messages from our brain, and then it tells the pituitary gland which hormones to secrete. Okay, so when your brain becomes inflamed, the hypothalamic cells become disrupted, and that can lead to disease and other health complications. There's a lot of information out there right now about how grains and gluten can cause inflammation in the brain. So I highly recommend you Googling some of that. If you're really interested, Grain Brain by David Perlmutter is a very good book to read. And if you think that grain might be one of your inflammation triggers, definitely do some research about that, because it's super fascinating how wheat and carbs and sugar impact the brain and are linked to a multitude of health issues. And so that can be dealt with through simple dietary changes. And I'm all for keeping this simple and seeing what helps and what doesn't. There's going to be a post about the ancient grain einkorn in this, I believe at the end of this class. So keep an eye out for that, because it is an ancient wheat before hybridization happened, and it is low gluten and a much lower inflammation trigger for your body. So that's the hypothalamus. And I believe, and I'll have to check this out, but I believe the hypothalamus is located in the limbic system in the brain. And the limbic system in the brain is what essential oils goes directly to when you smell them. So that's good to just keep that in mind. Okay, so the next gland system we're going to talk about is the pituitary gland. Now this gland is the size of a pea. and it's connected to the bottom of the hypothalamus and has two different parts, the anterior and the posterior pituitary gland. The anterior produces about 8 different hormones, while the posterior, the back, stores those hormones produced in the hypothalamus and then releases them as needed. So you got the front producing, you got the back storing and releasing it. So the pituitary gland actually then secretes hormone that influences growth, blood pressure, thyroid function, metabolism, inflammation level, and pain in the body. It also influences breast milk production and sex organ functions both in men and women, among other things. So this size of a pea gland, like this big, influences all of those systems in your body. So you can see how if it's stressed, there's a lot of things that can go sideways in your body. And I just think it's so amazing that something so small can control so many other glands in the endocrine system. And brain injuries, things like brain injuries, such as concussions, are really taken very, very seriously these days, because injury to the brain can impair hormone production. So then you have all kinds of body impact from a concussion. And these impacts might reveal themselves immediately. They might reveal themselves in weeks, months, or even years later. So we have to take really good care and avoid brain injuries and protect our pituitary gland. So the next gland is the pineal gland, and this is our sleep gland. So this gland produces melatonin, and melatonin regulates our sleep and wake cycle, which is also known as our circadian rhythm. And its production is triggered by darkness, which is why it's so important to have a bedtime routine that includes turning down the lights and shutting off electronics, getting rid of that blue light about an hour before bedtime, so that your pineal gland has a chance to kick on and produce melatonin. So things like television, phones, iPads, computer screens, those all delay the production of your melatonin by not allowing your pineal gland to kick into action because it's still light out. And in addition to influencing sleep, did you know that melatonin is a super powerful antioxidant and supports our immune system? So sleep and immunity are very highly linked together. And one of the biggest issues for the pineal gland, interestingly enough, is called calcification. And calcification means the heart. Sorry, yeah.
Can you repeat that? I didn't.
The big issue for pineal gland?
Yeah.
Calcification.
Okay.
Yeah. So the calcium deposits in your pineal gland. And what is known to cause calcification of the pineal gland is fluoride. And because fluoride accumulates in the pineal gland more than any other part of your body. And so if you're getting fluoride in drinking water or in toothpaste, this might be an issue with your pineal gland. So you'd have to do some research and some looking into how you can shift this. Toothpaste is easy, drinking water is a bit harder. I think there's fewer and fewer drinking water systems that actually fluoridate the water anymore. So it might not even be an issue in the water. It is definitely an issue in commercial toothpastes. Okay, so sorry?
I was going to say, did you know that Calderi is now talking about reintroducing fluoride back into their water?
Yeah. Oh, Lord. They're going to have a big pushback on that. Yeah. Yeah. It's hard enough having bleach in it, like having chlorine in it. I mean, and yeah, I don't want cholera and I don't want typhoid, but to turn the tap on and you have that burst of chlorine smell, it's also not good for us. So yeah, it's a tough balancing act, but if you can keep fluoride out, then at least you can let your water rest or put it through a filter to get the chlorine out. Now, I don't know about you, but thyroid is one of my favorite glands because mine quit in my 30s because of stress. And I had no idea that thyroid quitting in your 30s could happen. And it is one of the single biggest indicators for cardiovascular disease later in life. Who knew? Anyway, your thyroid gland is located in the lower front part of your neck, right in here, right around in here. And it is directly controlled by your pituitary gland. The thyroid regulates hormones responsible for metabolism, regulation of heart rate, body temperature, and muscle tone. So if you have a wonky thyroid, you're probably either always hot or always cold. You may or may not have heart rate issues. And well, sleep is an issue because you'll be exhausted if it's low. You may have palpitations if your thyroid has high level of activity, and it impacts your muscle tone. So we know that women, especially as they get older, lose muscle tone faster and end up with things like balance issues and falls later in life. It influences the level of adrenal and sex hormones in our body. It influences cholesterol, bone growth, and menstrual cycle in women, amongst other things. So this little nugget, it's kind of a walnut-sized gland, is super, super important for so many things. But interestingly, there are thyroid receptor sites on every cell in the body. So that shows how important thyroid hormones are for our bodies to work effectively. So make sure as we go along here, we're going to give our thyroid a little loving. Okay, so then there's the parathyroid. And there are 4 of these glands, and they are located in your neck, in behind your thyroid. So you've got the thyroid out front and 4 parathyroids in the back. And although the names are actually similar, they are functionally very different from the thyroid. They're just neighbors, really, because parathyroid glands regulate the calcium level in our bones and in our blood within a very, very narrow range so that our nervous system and our muscular systems can function properly. Did you know actually that calcium is used to provide the electrical energy for our nervous system and our muscular system? That's what calcium is. We're taught calcium is good for bones, but calcium is incredibly important for a lot of other things. So as a result, when your calcium levels are low or out of balance, you can experience sadness, weakness, tiredness, or muscle cramps. Do you ever have muscle cramps in your legs? I can tell when my calcium and my magnesium levels are low because I'll go to stretch and I will give myself a Charlie horse in a calf. And I think, ooh, I've forgotten to take my calcium magnesium supplement a couple of days. And I'll actually get out of bed and go and take it right away.
See, and that's where I'm at right now, having massive leg cramps. And I'm taking a whole bunch of magnesium, and I was told to start taking our Cal magnesium.
Yeah,
Or
the
Cal-Mag.
Mega-Cal.
Yeah, Mega-Cal.
Oh, yeah. That's what I take.
Because-
And I take about 4 scoops a day right now because
Okay.
between cramping the muscles, I have some neuropathy, nerve tingling in my
Yep.
feet.
Mhm.
And magnesium is extraordinarily important for our cardiovascular health as well.
Okay.
Yeah. And it's interesting that while calcium actually does make our bones really strong, the calcium stored in our bones is constantly moving in and out of our bones to maintain the calcium level in our blood. So it's our calcium blood level that's high. Yep.
I just have a question. My sister has got neuropathy in her foot,
Yep.
in her feet. I mean, and she's got an infection right now in her foot, and she's been going to get antibiotics.
Yep.
All week. She started on Saturday, and now they're saying that it's moved into her bone, but they still won't send her down to the hospital. And my question is, what is there something she could be doing other than just taking her antibiotics? Like, is there like oils that could
Well,
help?
so because it's moved into osteomyelitis in her bone, like into her bone, she's gonna need pretty massive IV antibiotic infusions, I would think.
Mhm.
She can, I mean, I would confirm with my health provider if she was going to, because of the seriousness of that infection. I would confirm anything that I was going to be taking, but I would think that magnesium, calcium would be pretty key in this, especially for those cramps. Because even though she's got this infection, like there's still that underlying reason why she was having cramps in her
Yeah,
leg.
she's got type 2 diabetes,
Yep.
so
Yep. Yeah.
Mhm.
And then she got a wound on her foot.
yeah, now it's spread from one toe to her whole foot and up her leg. And they keep telling me they're just going to keep treating her as an outpatient, and that even if she was down island, they wouldn't admit her anyway.
Well,
And I
they
said,
might
I'm
not.
worried. Yeah, I'm worried.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are they giving her IV antibiotics or just,
They're giving her IV antibiotics. She goes in for that every day, and then they have her on, she's taking like by mouth as well.
that's probably all they would do down here too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because honestly, she doesn't want to be in the hospital with an infection because she'll just
Mhm.
get another one.
Yeah, that's what they told me. And I'm just wondering if there's something like, thank you, because I think asking her if she's taking calcium or
Yeah.
something would be helpful, because she might
Calcium
not.
and magnesium, the combination.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I'll get her to ask tomorrow.
Yeah. Ask them if that would be an okay thing for her to start trying.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because it would be, I think it would be really, those muscle cramps are agony and impact your sleep. So then your sleep is impacted, then your immune system is impacted, then you have a small cut on your foot and it becomes something much bigger.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
It can kind of snowball. Okay, so then we have our adrenal glands, which are a pair of kind of triangular glands that sit on the top of our kidneys in the small of our back. So if you put your hand in the small of your back, you can kind of feel two, the two lumps of your kind of pelvis at the back there. Just above that is where your adrenal glands are. And they have two actual sections with their own unique function: the outer adrenal cortex and the inner adrenal medulla. Now, the adrenal cortex produces hormones that regulate blood pressure and electrolyte balance. And the adrenal medulla has a direct connection to your brain, that secretes hormones that help regulate your heart rate, the constriction of your blood vessels, the dilation of your air passages in your lungs, and all of the actions that prepare us for flight, fight, or freeze. And this leads us to cortisol. So cortisol is the stress hormone. It is secreted by the adrenal glands. But it gets kind of a bad rap because it's in modern times we have too much of it, but it's extremely important in our evolution because it shuts down unnecessary functions in our body when we're faced with a really stressful situation. So if we're being chased by a lion, it shuts down our critical thinking. It shuts down the unnecessary parts of our body that are not needed to run away. Okay. When it becomes a problem is when the stress becomes chronic, when you are under stress all the time. Because when you're evolutionary wise, when you're running away from a lion, you either run and get away and the event is over, or you're eaten. Either way, there's an end and the cortisol shuts off. Then your body flushes it. Have you ever driven by a horse in a field and you can see its back flicking, right? Like it'll flick, its skin will kind of twitch. That's a horse getting rid of cortisol. Horses can get rid of it by shaking it off, basically. When we are under chronic stress, however, the cortisol never shuts off. Our body becomes flooded with it. Our bodily functions get all out of whack. And it just becomes very, very difficult to have a proper hormone balance when we're flooded with cortisol. And so, lifestyle wise, that's why it's so important to practice yoga or exercise or walk in the forest or meditate or take time just to calm yourself and just soothe your stress level so that you can kind of get back to some balance and your body can relax enough to stop flooding itself with cortisol. We're going to come back to a lot of this stuff as we go along. So, and there's no test at the end.
Thank you.
Yes. So the next set of glands is our sexual glands, ovaries and testes. And while the adrenal glands produce a very small amount of sex hormones, including estrogen in both men and women, the majority of our sex hormones come from our ovaries or testes in men. Our ovaries secrete estrogen and progesterone, which are really critical for normal reproductive development, fertility in women. And the testes, of course, produce testosterone, which is necessary for the proper development in boys, muscle strength, bone density, and libido. Women do have small amounts of testosterone as well. So those are important ones. And then finally, the pancreas. So our pancreas is a big glandular organ located in the upper abdominal cavity on the right side of our body, on the left side of our body. And it has two main functions. An exocrine function that helps in digestion and regulates, and then an endocrine function that regulates blood sugar. So it secretes for digestion and it secretes for blood sugar regulation. The endocrine component of the pancreas creates and releases two key hormones into the bloodstream: insulin, which acts to lower blood sugar, and glucagon, which acts to raise blood sugar. And maintaining those proper levels of blood sugar is really key to the functioning of other organs, including our brain, our liver, our kidneys, and also to help us have a healthy body weight. And who does not want that? Okay. Do we need a bit of a break or are we good to keep going?
No, I'm just going to plug my phone in because it's going to die. So that's why I have to move.
Okay, so let's talk about some signs of unhappy hormones. Okay, so we've learned that hormones are really chemical messengers that travel through our body, coordinating super complex processes like growth and metabolism and fertility, right? They can influence the function of our immune system. They can alter our behavior. Ever cry for no reason? Hormones. So understanding what are some signs of unhappy hormones is a really good place to start when looking at your overall wellness and where you want to look at focusing some attention. So if you have increased anxiety, depression, or moodiness, if you have low energy, and I'd like to say here that it's often quite difficult to pull apart what's responsible for what, because low energy can come from many places, right? But it is kind of a key indicator that there's some more detective work that needs to happen.
And the one thing that I just wanted to say is, like, I'm in active grief after losing my mom. And so I know that I'm impacted by that on top of everything else. I've had a hysterectomy. So, and I just wrote a note going, I don't know if I have my ovaries or if they took them out.
Be good to know.
How the hell did I not ask that? You know, but so I don't know that. And I think the only way that I've been able to manage functioning is what can I do? And what can I try to influence whatever those symptoms are that I'm having? Instead of trying to figure out why, because I just get stuck there.
I agree. I think looking at what symptom it is that you want to work on is probably the most productive place to start. Because, and trying different things, lifestyle, diet, nutrition, supplements, whatever. Trying different things to see what gives you the best impact for that particular thing. Right?
And I'm not on lots of vitamins and stuff.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if I should be on a multivitamin. I don't know, but
Well, and so these are some of the things that when you start looking at where you want to focus, you can look at what you can do in that for that particular thing. You know, like we're talking about your sister and her leg cramps. Well, that's a symptom. We know that leg cramps are most often calcium and magnesium related. Be an easy place to start, right? Very easy place to start. It gives some extra benefits of increasing her blood calcium level, you know, hopefully helping her with bone density, strength. You know, it has some nice side effects as well, but you have that one thing that you're wanting to work on, those leg cramps. So then you can deal with that with one thing, try it, see if it helps, and go from there.
Okay.
Now, things like low energy and fatigue are a little more complicated and might need a more nuanced kind of approach. I mean, you might need to have a bit more exercise, even though like fatigue is a funny thing. Fatigue builds on itself. And if you have exercise, you can reduce fatigue, which seems counterintuitive sometimes because it does fatigue you, but overall it builds up your stamina and it gets your hormones moving and your blood flowing, right?
I was just going to say that I find that because I started working out in the morning, it makes me tired when I need to be tired. Like,
yes.
And I'm not all the way ready, setting up my schedule or what that's going to look like. I'm at the beginning of it, but I know going out for a walk after dinner, doing something like that. But I don't know.
Yeah. Me and my husband, we make a point of our lunchtime because he works from home as well. We go for a walk with the dogs at lunch because it's always light out, so we can't make the excuse, oh, it's dark already. The weather tends to not be terrible, but you know, we can survive it. But it gets us out and it gets us through that kind of lull that you have in the afternoon where you just your energy level drops a bit and you just think, oh, I just don't want to do anything. Having that kind of blood flow, kind of circulation boost in the middle of the day really helps us. And I think it's about finding what works for you and then supporting that and optimizing those things. One of the biggest things that you can look at is sleeping, you know, sleep patterns. Because if you're not getting good restful sleep, honestly, probably nothing else matters. So if you find that your sleep is an issue, focusing on getting a better, deeper sleep could involve a few things. Could involve, like I said, better sleep hygiene. It could involve essential oils at night to help you relax. It could involve a hot drink that doesn't have caffeine in it, or looking at your caffeine levels through the day. You know, there's lots of different things that you could look at. Could look at things as simple as, do I have a good pillow? Is my bed comfortable? Is my room free of distraction and stress? So there's lots of different things. I mean, even things like excessive hunger or difficulty gaining weight or losing weight is a sign that your hormones could be unhappy. Brain fog is a huge sign. That's why brain fog is one of the biggest side effects of menopause that women complain about. It's directly hormonal. And so we want to figure out how we're going to not only see those signs, so those are all symptoms of unhappy hormones, all of those things. What system they come from, we don't know until we start really digging in.
And I have all of them. Like that sounds like it's like, I'm just a mess over here.
Were you raising your hand, Julie?
Just to say I'm a mess too.
You know, I think there comes a certain age in women's lives when things kind of take a left turn and we have to really get serious about focusing on our own well-being. Because our perimenopause, our menopause, and our postmenopause are such watershed changes in our body chemistry that we're all a mess.
Yeah, and I think finding a naturopath or somebody like somebody that specializes in hormones to be able to, and women's functions to be able to help me navigate. Okay,
Mhm.
these are all the things that have happened to me in this last year,
Yep.
and be able to navigate and eliminate some things. Like I wonder if I have a brain injury
Yeah.
because of my car accident. So it's like, how do you actually, I don't
Well,
know,
and I think,
eliminate it?
and I
But
think I think it's a process of elimination. I mean, grief can make you feel like you have a brain injury. Menopause, there's actual physical neuron changes in a woman's brain during menopause. They go back after menopause. When you get to postmenopause, your brain returns to almost premenopausal normal. But during menopause, there are actual changes in your brain.
Mhm.
And that's why, like I said, brain fog is one of the biggest complaints of women in menopause because because the loss of estrogen in our body is so profound that every system kind of goes crazy.
I know I don't know what I'm doing. Like I'll walk and I'll be like, what am I doing?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, this is what I was doing. And I can't remember anything for the life of me. And then I have to really truly focus. That's why I needed to have a whole dedicated space and everything in its spot and nobody can touch it. And, you know,
And that's ways of managing the changes that you're going through. It's a very concrete way of managing some of those changes. So let's look at some other concrete ways of doing that. So you can support your hormone system via lifestyle, right? And you can literally see improvements within a matter of weeks by making some simple changes. Reducing inflammatory foods, exercise, detoxing your body, helping your body detox properly, supporting some hormone systems, and getting rid of any endocrine disruptors that are in your house in your cleaning products. Okay, whatever you change to doesn't matter as long as they do not include endocrine disrupting hormones or chemicals, which probably means that you have to buy from the health food store or from a company like Young Living or Norwex or companies, but companies that actually tell you that those chemicals are not in there. I find the environmental working group database for household cleaners very helpful. It's got a list of companies and their cleaners and it grades them because actually there's also companies out there that will tell you that they are healthier for you, but when you go check them on the database, they actually aren't. So you have to be really careful.
it's interesting to know that there's a database that does that. I didn't know that. Environmental Working Group database.
Yes. Now it doesn't cover every kind of household cleaner, but it's got a lot of them there.
Okay.
And so that's why I talk so much about Thieves Cleaner, because it does not have those kind of chemicals. So the three most common household toxic chemicals are something called 2-butoxyethylene ethanol ammonia, bleach, and chlorine. Okay, so those are in a lot of cleaning products. Get rid of the bleach and the chlorine in your house quickly. Don't use that because those three chemicals can damage your liver, your kidneys, they can trigger respiratory stress, and they are endocrine disruptors. If you're like me and you grew up with an old school nurse as a mom, she used bleach a lot in the house. Our house would smell like a pool sometimes. And then I spent hours in the pool. I was a
Mhm.
swimmer as a kid. So I was like literally whole body immersed in chlorine. So it doesn't surprise me that hormonal issues may have been a big thing. And there really is zero need to clean with those things when you can buy cleaners that are 100% plant-based, where they're biodegradable, where they use safer products to clean with. And that's why I'm so big on all of the Thieves products. And one of the biggest products that I'm big on is the toothpaste. It doesn't have fluoride in it. It doesn't have parabens in it. It doesn't have
I really like the toothpaste. Yeah,
Sorry?
I've used it. I've
Yeah.
ordered the toothpaste. It's really good. Yeah.
Yeah, because if you think about it, putting anything in your mouth instantly absorbed into your bloodstream, because your cheeks are just all blood vessels inside, so instantaneous. So finding and the other thing that you have to watch in commercial toothpaste is something called triclosan, and that's another endocrine disruptor. And some products like Crest, they have taken triclosan out in some places, but not in others. So it's very difficult to find out whether it's in commercial products or not. So the next thing that you can do to support your body is to look at detoxification. So detoxification actually happens in your body every single day. Your liver is responsible for moving toxins from your body, and from your blood, and your kidneys and bowel, through your urine and your bowels. It flushes them out. And staying hydrated, drinking lots of water, helps flush those toxins out of your body. Adding citrus oils to your water, because that helps support hydration, and it helps with the elimination part. Anything that's not, any toxins that aren't eliminated through urine or bowel movements can be eliminated through sweat. So this is why Scandinavians love sauna so much, because they can sweat out a lot of toxins in their body. This is a big one. Now, if you wake up consistently at 3 a.m., like I used to, my Chinese medicine doctor told me that is because my liver, that's the liver hour. 2 to 3 a.m. is the liver hour in Chinese medicine. That's when your liver is doing its hardest detox work. And if you're waking up at that time of night, every night or consistently, it means that your liver is struggling to detoxify. So detoxification baths are very helpful. This is another way to get magnesium in your body. Soak in Epsom salts. That is your whole body absorbs those Epsom salts, which is a form of magnesium. So go in, soak in that Epsom salt bath up to your neck. Give yourself 15 to 20 minutes. That will help your body, your organs detoxify. It will help your body increase the magnesium level, makes your blood vessels more flexible, helps your muscle cramps. And those toxins can flush out a lot easier. Super simple way.
Yeah, and I was told that if you don't have a bathtub, that you can use the Epsom salt as like a body scrub.
Yes, you can do that. You can also do a foot soak, because your feet have very large pores on the bottom and no sebaceous glands. So they absorb things so much better than the rest of your body. So if you just soak your feet in an Epsom salt bath.
Okay.
Now, scrubbing yourself with Epsom salts, you'll want to have a shower after, but you might find it makes you a little itchy. Magnesium on your skin can make you a bit itchy.
Yeah.
Just so that you know, if you come out and you're quite scratchy. I have some magnesium spray. If I put it on, for about 5 minutes there, it's like the itchiest of bug bites. We also have some products that help you support your detoxification processes. Sulfurzyme, which is a natural organic sulfur product, and Super C, they help your organs. So Sulfurzyme helps increase your body's production of glutathione, and glutathione does help your body detox. It's a chemical component. I don't think it's a hormone. I think it might be more of a protein or an enzyme. It does help your body detox better. And then vitamin C, which is our Super C or your chewables, helps to remove chlorine from your body. So if you're swimming or drinking water with chlorine, up your vitamin C content. Dr. McCullough has a lot of really good information on sulfur. And this is one of my never fail supplements. I take Sulfurzyme every single day because it actually works at our DNA level. And it is the most abundant mineral in our body after calcium and phosphorus is sulfur. It's quite amazing. I have a whole education class on Sulfurzyme all alone, but it is one of those things that is really important because close to half of all the sulfur in your body can be found in your muscles, skin, and bones, but it plays a really important role in many body systems. It's required for proteins to maintain their shape, and the biological activity of proteins in your body. So it's good for your hair, your skin, and your nails, your cartilage, your connective tissue. It's just an amazing drug that or an amazing supplement that nobody's ever heard of, really. So I'm not gonna talk too much about it, but those two together really help increase the production of other chemicals that help your body detox. Now, nutritional support is super important because for two reasons. One, you want to provide the nutrients to your body that it needs, but you also don't want to increase inflammation by eating inflammatory foods like sugar, omega-6 oils, which are typically seed oils, gluten for some people, dairy for some people. So you really want to find nutrient-rich foods to eat and go from there. I actually have a 50-pound sack of einkorn coming from the Young Living Skywalker Ranch in Utah, and I'm going to be learning how to use it to make my sourdough bread so that I can move away from more processed flour and more processed hybridized wheat to something a little more ancient grain. So it might take me a while because it's very difficult. It's more difficult to bake with einkorn because it doesn't have as much gluten. So it doesn't make that high, fluffy, well-packed bread. So I'm going to have to figure out how to do that, but it's a good little problem to have. And so einkorn, Young Living has a couple. Einkorn berries are basically just wheat berries that you can grind into flour in your blender or your wheat mill. And then the einkorn flakes cereal is very much like a bran flakes, but from the ancient grain and not something more highly processed. So nutritive eating is one thing, but we all know that most of our food is highly processed. Most of our food is grown in very industrial agricultural conditions. A lot of our food travels a long way. It's picked green. It's flown across the world. It doesn't have the nutrient value that food used to have. I read a paper a little while ago that said that things like spinach have lost almost 80% of their nutrition because of the current way it's grown. Our soil has changed. It's depleted of trace minerals, and those trace minerals are taken up by plants and sent and given to us. So that doesn't happen in soil that's depleted. If they're using industrial fertilizers, those things are not replenished in the soil. So even if you're eating a diet high in fruit and vegetables, if it's not organic and local, then it is it has a less nutrition value than it used to have.
And I've done a little bit of research on organic
Mhm.
fruits and veggies and how, even though they identify as organic, that they're still
Mhm.
influenced by some sort of
Yeah.
like crop fertilizer, and like they're affected by that. So
Yeah,
it makes me want to grow my own vegetables and my own, you know.
that is the number one best way to get healthy fruits and vegetables into your body, is to grow your own. And I have had periods of my life where I have had massive gardens and produced nearly all of the fruits and vegetables that we have eaten. It is a massive amount of work. Um, it is wonderful to grow things you eat a lot of, and to try to keep fresh things growing for yourself all year. So if you have a greenhouse or you bring things into the house, in the wintertime, I grow a lot of sprouts because they grow fast, they're high in vitamins, they're quick, and they're tasty. And you can get sprouting seeds that are very good for you, and things, beans and things like alfalfa sprouts and mung beans and chickpeas, and you can sprout them. All of that sprouted wheat, that sprouted beans is very, very high in nutrition. So you don't necessarily need to go big garden wise, because you can pack some punch into your day. Microgreens are a big thing, and you can get a lot of vitamins out of it. But I think it comes down to the fact that everybody has more than just gardening to do, and we all need some help in terms of the nutrition in our bodies, and so supplementation. So when I said that einkorn was my number 2 supplement that I don't go without, this is my number 1. I don't miss a day. I never miss a day of Ningxia Red, because it takes all of the fruits and vegetables and antioxidants that I need and compresses it into one bottle. And I can get 19 amino acids and 20 trace minerals out of a 2-ounce shot. It gives me the feeling that I have at least covered my baseline for the day. And whatever
Right.
else happens during the day, I'm good.
I need to get mine because I forgot mine. Like I have bottles of it,
Yeah.
a box of bottles in my cupboard, my
Oh,
closet in my old place, and I
Yeah.
just forgot to bring it. I ran out of the little packets, so
yeah. Yeah.
my grandkids love those.
Hmm. My
Mhm.
grandson, he went for his booster shot today, and I took a package of Ningxia Red. We both had that before he had it, and he was feeling good. He loves his too. This is such a high immune system booster. It helps maintain healthy blood sugar. It helps with weight management. It helps reduce stress levels, and clinically helps reduce stress levels. They've done studies now. They've got more and more studies about the use of Ningxia Red. It helps improve your sleep. The 3 things that came across in the last clinical study: it improved the sleep of the people taking it, it improved the stress level of the people taking it, and it improved the what was the third one? Sleep, stress, antioxidant level, I think. So I don't go a day without this one. There is its glycemic index is very low. So if you are a diabetic, this is still a very good product to have. It does have fiber in it because it is the pulp of the fruits and not just the juice. It's 21% fiber by weight, so you're getting a good dose of fiber as well in your daily shot. And it actually helps. It helps with a building block for dopamine production. And dopamine production, like collagen production, decreases with age. So it really is an amazing product. Then there is probiotics. Now, if you eat a lot of sauerkraut, kimchi, kefir, either milk or water, sauerkraut, I said sauerkraut, like fermented vegetables. If you eat a lot of fermented vegetables in their uncooked state, then you, like every single day, you are probably getting enough probiotics in your diet. Yogurt too, live culture yogurt. If you are not eating a lot of those in your day, you are not getting enough probiotics. And what happens is then your gut gets off balance. And when your gut is off balance, your digestion is off balance. If your digestion is off balance, anything nutritious that you eat, you're not necessarily absorbing it well. If your gut is off balance, your elimination system is off balance. So you're not getting rid of the toxins in your body. And the biggest thing that's come out most recently is if your gut is not in balance, you very likely have low serotonin, because 90% of serotonin in the body is created in your gut. And serotonin is your mental wellness drug in your brain. Probiotics, like our Life 9, also help support your immune system, and that it also helps to try to rebalance, re-inoculate your gut with the probiotics. Now,
Does it
they
have to be
also-
refrigerated?
sorry,
Does it have to be refrigerated?
after it's open, it should be refrigerated. Yes. Yeah. And it should be taken at night before you go to bed so that it can lay in your body without food digesting and repopulate. Because if you take it in the morning and then you eat all day, it just gets the probiotics tend to get eliminated with the food that you've eaten. So if you let it in your gut overnight, it stays there all night working, and it can repopulate. There's also a nice prebiotic called Daily Prebiotic Fiber, and that is basically like fertilizer for probiotics.
I was going to just ask you what the difference between prebiotic and probiotic is.
So a prebiotic is a fiber that the probiotics eat.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like fertilizer for probiotics, and probiotics are just the bacteria and cultures that your gut needs to be healthy. And in Life 9, it has 17 billion active cultures in those capsules. So it's a super high potency. When you're looking at any kind of probiotic, you want to know how many active cultures and how many strains of probiotics. And I think there's 9 or 11 strains in this and 17 billion active cultures.
Awesome.
Mhm.
I know this is supposed to be finished at 7:30.
Yeah.
I haven't cooked, and I have to cook for my sister too because she can't cook.
No,
So
no, and I'm sorry, this one is a longer one, and I know we don't have that much to go, but I'm recording it so you can watch the end later.
okay, that sounds great. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Carrie Lee. Talk to you soon.
Yeah, good night.
Good night. Multigreens, we've just talked a lot about not getting the nutrition out of our food. Multigreens is a way of, doing that in a quick formula. Vitamin B is super important for stress. When we're talking about cortisol levels, totally depletes our vitamin B supply in our body. And vitamin B is very big for our brain and our cardiovascular system. So I take a lot of vitamin B, Super B, twice what is recommended there because of my cardio history. But it is one of those fundamental supplements again to take, especially for if you're under a lot of stress, because this will be depleted in your body. You will feel a lot more tingling. You will in your muscles because it works so much with magnesium, and biotin is one of the B vitamins. This has a multifaceted B complex. It's not just one. It has folate, not folic acid. So folic acid is a synthetic version of a B vitamin. We don't use synthetics in any of our supplements. So Super B is really important. Also, interestingly, this is infused with nutmeg oil, which helps to absorb the B vitamins into our cells. There's a couple of quick combinations. So there's Cortistop. This is only available through the US store, and it is a very hard one to get because everybody buys it when it comes back in stock. So if it's available, this is all around balancing your cortisol levels. When you are under super high stress, this particular supplement will help. I'm just looking, it has black cohosh extract, which supports estrogen production and counters higher cortisol levels. It has DHEA, which is derived from wild yam. And is another important hormone for progesterone production. It has Canadian fleabane, which is an oil in it, and that supports hormone function and helps to reduce your cortisol level. Clary sage, fennel, frankincense. It is full of oils and that help reduce the impact of too much cortisol in your body. So it's really quite amazing. Talk a little bit about our thyroid here for a minute, because there's a couple of options for thyroid support. Now, Thyromin, again, is only available through the NFR, and it is a supplement that is completely focused around supporting a healthy thyroid. And then these 3 oils, Endoflex, Myrtle, and Lemongrass, are really oils that are focused around supporting the thyroid. Endoflex, you put see, I have mine, I have a little roller ball on mine because I use it a couple of times a day, and I just roll it across my thyroid, and it helps to balance that whole thyroid function. I also can put it across my adrenals, across the small of my back, to help those. And myrtle and lemongrass are also oils that are long time noted to be supportive of the thyroid. And then if you are under massive amounts of stress and you're not on cortisol or Cortistop, sorry, these 3 oils, nutmeg, clove, and rosemary, also have clinically proven results to help support your adrenal glands. And these are rubbed on the small of your back where your adrenal glands are. They these oils are a simple and effective way of actually just helping those adrenal glands be comforted and soothed. Rosemary kind of provides stress support for them. And if you made a roller ball of these 3 and used it a couple of times a day when you're under high amounts of stress, that would be so supportive of them. And these are not expensive oils by any stretch of the imagination, and they would last a very, very long time. I have also heard that adding clove, rosemary, what was the other one that she added? I think it might have been bergamot to them. It helps a lot. So those 3 oils are a simple way to get started to see if your adrenals are needing some support. Now, my favorite way of supporting my hormones is to always have a diffuser going, because you can diffuse nutmeg, clove, and rosemary, or Endoflex, or any of these oils that we talked about, myrtle, lemongrass. You can diffuse them, and by inhaling them, you are also getting them into your body and into your bloodstream and into your brain. So they are you're supporting your hormonal system just by diffusing. Clary sage and nutmeg, amazing hormone support. Clary sage is a oil that all women should be using because it's so hormonal balancing. Transformation, geranium, tangerine, all of these oils can help break you out of hormonal blues. It can help lift your mood and actually support your body quite well. So it is quite amazing. And I think I'm going to end there with tonight, because it seems like a really good spot to stop. we've talked a lot about supporting our body with natural cleaning products, with supplementation, with better nutrition, looking at our food, getting rid of the the inflammatory foods in our diet, and then supporting both our mood and our gland systems with essential oils. It really does, the Young Living products really do wrap around you and provide you with the tools to try at whatever level of those indicators that your hormone system is unhappy, at whatever level you choose, there's something for you that will help support you. Do you have any questions, Julie?
How do you know what stage of menopause you're in?
Oh, menopause is, I think you haven't had a period for 4 months, 5 months. And you tend to have symptoms like hot flashes. You may have the occasional spotting. You have a lot of brain fog, weight gain. And then by the time you get to menopause, the hot flashes stop. The brain kind of clears off. So yeah, and it's very different for a lot of women, because sometimes it goes longer for some than others. Some women, you know, they have quite an easy time of it. Other women suffer terribly. But I don't think there's a real kind of cutoff.
Okay.
Now,
Thank
as always, there are many ways to get access to these products. So for people who are watching this on replay, there's multiple ways of purchasing these products. But friends don't let friends buy retail. So the biggest thing I want to tell you is that when you sign up for an account at Young Living, which is just like signing up for an account at Amazon, click member. I want to be a member, so that you get 24% off and get wholesale pricing. And then if you want to know how to get some extra benefits, free products and points back, just give me a PM and I can walk you through exactly how to place your order so that you get the best bang for your buck, because this can be very, very budget friendly, and you can have these products in your home without breaking the bank. So make sure you could PM me on Facebook, or you could email me at hello@newwellnessperspective.com. You could go to my website, you could give me a call, any of those ways. And I can hook you up. So if that's everything, I'm going to thank you all for coming tonight, and I will post this in the regular places so that it's available for review. And I hope you all have a good night. Thank you so much for joining me. Good to see you, Julie.
Nice to see you too, Christina.
Talk to you soon.
You bet.